So welcome to the 16th Annual Hamilton Film Festival, Hamilton Film Summit. The amount of times I'm going to say Hamilton today is going to be insane, but here we are. We're going to be talking about web and new media and how we're creating this content, where we're getting the funding from, and how it's working for us or not. What's working, what's not working. There's going to be some conversations about a local fund called FIBE-TV1, which myself and Mike and Lisa have benefited from that program. And it's going to be a really interesting talk. So why don't we go around, and I would like you to introduce yourself, talk about what your current web series or new media is, and then if I haven't already done so, post a link to where people can learn about that in the chat. So Adriano, I'll start with you.
Sure, thanks. Thanks for having us, Nathan. My name is Adriano Valentini. I'm here with the short series, How to Do Shit with Guido Gagootz. It's a 1-minute episodic web series that we've been posting online about a guy named Guido Gagootz, and he teaches you how to do shit. In every episode, he has a new guest that he kind of ropes into his world, and that guest helps him teach the audience how to do something. And it's a comedy, and we've been shooting it here we're based in Los Angeles. I'm from Hamilton originally, and they're all 1 minute long, and we just shoot them whenever we can and whenever we can find somebody to be a guest. And Sandro, who's here as well, plays Guido.
Okay, so Sandro, let's go to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sandro Iocolano. I know Adriano Valentini through the process of being in Los Angeles and being a comedian. And we shoot these together whenever we can, whenever the mustache allows us to. I had to shave it recently for something, but it's always going to grow back because Guido needs to tell people how to do shit. But devolve into an argument, because that's just how the nature of reality goes. Especially, I think it might even be a little more of a topic of a commentary on American culture. So I do like getting that out there. It's quick to get angry in a minute, especially being in America. Apparently, at least that's what they tell us. So.
And Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa. Thank you for having me here. Lisa Crawford from Hamilton Local. We have the series Pink is In. We were very fortunate to get picked up for second season. Our shows is 15 minutes. It's 4 episodes now currently on Bell5 TV1. And we're hoping to release before March of next year, the next 4 episodes.
Great. And for those of you joining us in the chat, there is a link to Pink is In, and it's free to watch the first episode up until tonight, which is the 13th. And there's a code there, so you can watch the first episode, or you can also see it on Bell5 TV1 if you are a Bell subscriber in the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, I believe, and maybe East Coast. Lisa, do you know if?
Yeah, they're East Coast, and I think they go as far as they do go a little bit out west as well.
Yeah, so there's a few million people that have access to Bell5 TV, so there's a pretty good viewership through that program. And we will talk about the 5 program as we go on. And Mike, let's hear from you.
Yeah, sure. My name is Mike Mitchell. I'm also from Hamilton, creator, executive producer, writer, actor in a TV1 show called This Is the Thing. Same deal as Pink is In, where we try to stick to about 15 minutes episodic, but our first season had 5 episodes. As long as it hit an hour in content, I think we have like 1 9-minute episode, but same sort of thing. And same boat as Lisa. We're fortunate enough to get picked up for second season with TV1 right now. So we just kicked off production in the last couple of weeks, and same timeline. We're hoping to deliver by a little bit later, actually. So it wouldn't be March, but probably like April or May for our second season. But this is the thing in a nutshell.
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. The series that I'm doing is called Wild Child. It's a wilderness challenge show for kids. So it gets kids back in the outdoors and off their devices, and they learn how to canoe and fish and read a map, that kind of thing. And so we got 6 episodes that we're in post-production now, and we're probably a month away from signing a deal with a company in Australia who want to do the show, an Australian version of the show. So we haven't even finished this one yet, and we're already licensing the format out. So it's kind of exciting to get that going. But all through Bell5 TV, they have this wonderful fund. So actually, let's while we're talking about this 5 fund, let's get into it. So Lisa, can you tell us a little bit about what this fund is and does?
What it is, Bell5 TV One is a community channel. What I like about it is they give new producers the opportunity to, get their work out there and get a license deal. One of the things it has to, because we fall under the Hamilton Niagara area, it has to be a show that showcases the area. So in our case, what we did with Pink is In, being a Hamilton production, we made sure the storyline focuses on Hamilton and Niagara being part of the storyline. So what they do is they do give you a license deal. What's really great about it is that you only have a 30-day exclusive, and then you own the show.
I just posted a link to the fund in the chat room. So if anyone is interested in looking into that fund, it's a very simple process as well. You go to the website, you check off some boxes, explain what your story is, how much you can do it for, and they get back to you pretty quick. They respond. It's not like a fund where, you apply and then 3 months later you get a response. They're pretty quick. Within a few weeks, you hear back if your show is going to work for their format. And Mike, same thing with you. What was the process for you with Bell5?
Yeah, a little bit different. So I saw actually in the Lights Camera Hamilton Facebook group that there was a post where Paul, the development producer, was saying that submissions were open. They were looking for some new creators to step up. I actually sent him an email. I didn't go through the 5 fund. Hopped on a call with him. We chatted for about an hour, and he's like, "Oh, I think this is actually a pretty good idea. I really encourage you to go through the proper channels, but now we've already spoken. I'm going to flag this." And I kind of did a little bit backwards, but it's kind of how I do everything.
But it shows you how accessible this fund is.
100%. Yeah. No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, Paul came to the film festival maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. And that was the first time that I had heard about it. And at the time, I pitched a show after he came to the festival, and we got Songs from the Hammer. I did about 14 episodes on 5 for that. And then ever since then, they are always coming back to Hamilton looking for content. And I see more and more shows produced in this area. So it's a really good thing. And I do highly encourage everybody listening, if you're in the Hamilton area, and it does not include Toronto, I believe. There's actually region specific. Oshawa, London, Hamilton, Niagara, Ottawa, Kingston, Kitchener, Waterloo, Barrie, Windsor, and Peterborough. Those are the areas that they will support. Quebec City. And then there's the Atlantic province, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland, and Nova Scotia. So those are the areas that they support for funding. And as Lisa mentioned, it has to be specific to the area that you're in. Has to represent. And so, Adriano, what about you? How do you go about funding? So this How to Do Shit with Guido, you say you film it when you can. So is there a budget behind this, or is it just when you're not working, let's get together? What's the process for you?
Yeah, that's kind of what the process is with this show. We did another show that you screened at the Hamilton Film Festival 2 years ago called Little Italy Los Angeles, which I think is more in line with the types of shows that Lisa and Mike are talking about. It was a small 6-episode, 10-minute each episodic. We had a little bit of budget behind that one. That's more, I think, similar to the shows that you guys have produced. With Guido, it was just us trying to find something that we could do for no budget, basically, that we could shoot just on our own, and we kind of designed the show around that. So they're all one episode. There are 3 shots. There's a 2-shot, and then a shot of each character. Every episode has just 2 characters in it, Sandro and a guest. And then we try to find a different location that we can either grab and just shoot. And so we designed it around this just the idea of let's have something, a kind of concept that we can shoot in between other projects or whenever we have time, and just kind of whenever we have an idea. So we've been kind of banking scripts and writing ideas down, and then whenever we have someone that wants to work with us, or someone that we've been trying to grab, and they have an opportunity, and if Sandro's mustache is at full bloom, then we just go out and we try to grab and bank as many as we can whenever. And it's just a great opportunity to always be doing something and work with new people. We have a lot of really funny, talented friends, and then they have a lot of really funny, talented friends too. And it's a great way to kind of branch out and work with new people and kind of expand our network of funny people to work with.
And that's interesting because that's a low impact on their schedule as well.
Yeah, I mean, it takes no time for them to shoot. I mean, we'll send over the script if we can. I'd love to do a little rehearsal with Sandro and the guests, just because we try to turn, tailor the script to their specific voice if we can. And sometimes we've written the script before we've brought them on board, and then we use that kind of hour and a half to, make some changes and see what they bring to it. And, we're open to trying to changing things up depending on who we have. And then when they come and shoot, usually the next day or 2 days later, we usually just, it takes 2 hours. It's usually just me and maybe one other person helping out with sound, and that's it.
So that's interesting because not that long ago, we're all filmmakers, and it was all about make a short film or make a feature film, and those were kind of your options. And then the web series came along, and it really opened up to there was no limit on the length, the content. But one of the interesting things is the delivery of this. So Adriano, can you talk about, like, with these 1 minute clips that you're doing, these videos, what is your release strategy for this? Where do these things live?
Yeah, so we just try to release them on social, basically. So we designed them to be 1 minute specifically, just because we did Little Italy before this. We did another web series called The Age of Insecurity before that, and they were all between 7 and 15 minutes long. And we found that it was just tough to get people to commit to watching something that long, even though that was what we naturally wanted, our stories to be that length. So then we decided to really try to challenge ourselves to make this next thing as short as possible for just to make them easier to produce, but also so they could easily live and be self-contained on Instagram. That was the first destination that we thought of. And it was a great challenge for us to kind of, or at least for me as a writer, to really contain things down to 1 minute. And so with that, we just pump them out on every social platform that we know of, basically. Well, can you tell in terms of frequency? Yeah, so Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We've dabbled with TikTok a little bit, but shortened them to like 15 seconds, those 15-second clips in TikTok. What else? I think that's it. Yeah.
And what has worked the best for you? Where do you find you get the most traction on your series?
I think for us, it's been Instagram, just because we have a little bit of bigger networks on Instagram. YouTube has been challenging because I think the YouTube algorithm gives precedence to or gives priority to things that are longer than 3 minutes. So it doesn't pump anything out that's under that length of time. But yeah, it's not like we have huge numbers at all. It's the goal is just to continually do new stuff, and hopefully we get it in front of the right people that can help this lead to new opportunities or new people to work with. But yeah, Instagram I think has been the best for us. What do you think, Sanj?
And I mute myself. Yeah. We did Instagram for sure. And then we had some stuff on TikTok for a little bit with, like, the Comedy Store would repost it in Los Angeles, right. Which would definitely help, and we get numbers that way. But yeah, I feel like it was either whatever, like was getting the most, like the bigger network. And a lot of times it was being shared, like from comics and comics that we'd work with, they were able to kind of pump it out, and then it would kind of go in that direction. But just being able to kind of have to be, not even just, I guess, have to be like funny and concise and everything in 1 minute, which was like such a cool challenge. Because like with Little Italy, being on the mainly on like social platforms, sitting in front of your phone for more than like a few minutes sometimes, it's like I find myself even just like every time something's going on, I touch my phone screen to see how much is left. And I'm like, I just started this thing. Why am I so impatient? But with the 1 minute, they seem to go by pretty quick. And then putting them to 15 seconds on TikTok really seemed to boost it, a little more. But yeah, I guess Instagram is probably the most consistent. I find the most consistent feedback anyways.
And Adriano, when you brought up hoping that someone sees it, who is that someone that you're hoping sees it? What's your goal there?
I think it's just to continue to work with new people. I mean, that's the main goal. We're not making these so we hope that somebody spots it and is like, let's make a show about Guido or make a movie about Guido. It's just, we're trying to continually make new stuff and challenge ourselves creatively whenever we have the time and work with new people. So it's really just to try to work with new collaborators. So it's worked because with Little Italy, a lot of people in Sandro's network of comics and people that we've kind of our friends of friends or know of, they were able to see that, and then they turned to us and said, we'd love to do something with you, and then we present them something like this that only takes 2 hours of their time. Then we're able to work on something with them, and then that they share it, and then their network comments on it or likes it, and then we try to establish a new relationship with someone new, and then we just hope that those relationships continue, because they're going to get opportunities, and then they're going to look for people to work with, and hopefully they look back to us, and then we'll get other opportunities in the future, and then we need somebody to write or to star in something, and we'll have established that relationship. So it's really just with this show something that we're trying to create organic relationships with other creators, basically.
Yeah. That's great.
We're terrible at making friends too, so that's why we just want people to.
We're just trying to make friends.
Yeah.
That's great, because I'm always interested in what somebody's strategy is, if they have a strategy, and what their goals are with the content they put out. And it's almost like a demo reel that is a completed project. If you want to know what we do and how we work, check out the show, and it's out there for all to see. That's very interesting.
Absolutely.
And so, Lisa, now your content, the deal with Bell5 is you shoot it, they get it exclusive for 1 month in Canada. Where else does this show live? Whereas Pink is in season 1. Let's start with season 1.
At the moment, we've just got it on Vimeo. We just recently released it worldwide. And the reason we're limiting at the moment is because we do have a US distributor based in LA, and he's busy negotiating with certain networks down there. One of our challenges that we did have with the first season, because we only had 4 episodes, it was a little bit more of a harder sell. But because we just completed another 4, even though here with Bell it's considered season 1 and 2, but at least when we do sell it to the US and worldwide, it will be 8 episodes of 1 season. So we've also got a Canadian distributor as well. So they were just waiting on these next 4 episodes to try and push it here in Canada. So apparently the American film market is going on, I think, this month.
Yeah, it just ended, I think.
Yeah, we're just waiting to hear from our distributor down there to see what is happening, because there was some of the streaming companies that did show some interest in our show. So we really hoping that we're gonna get a deal soon.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you got season 1 with 4 episodes, season 2, and in Canada, that's how 5 releases them as seasons. But you put those 4 together, or 8, and you have a new season that you can sell anywhere and package it a little differently. So the packaging is important, how you're putting it together, and also with your Vimeo release, is it free? How do people watch it? Is there a paywall? Like, what's the
Yeah, it is a pay. It's our Canadian distributor did that. So there is a very small fee. You can either rent it or purchase the show, and you can download it. That's the way we have. But we do actually have another 2 episodes ready to go. We have applied for additional funding through Ontario Creates and CMF. So if we are successful with that, we're going straight back into filming the next 2 episodes, because ideally we've got a really great season finale. And then that is going to actually put us up to 10 episodes for the strip, because I always say the magic number is either 8 or 10 for a strip.
Oh, that's great. So monetizing it through Vimeo, you can rent or buy, and then packaging it as an 8 or 10 episode series that goes out, and you have an agent that's trying to sell the show, a distributor, and you have a distributor in Canada. So it sounds like you have a pretty good strategy and some goals in mind to grow the show. Like, it sounds like it's something that's growing. It doesn't sound like a project that you've done and now you're moving on to something else. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're still working on it. The other advantage of doing the 15-minute episodes is that we've actually combined 2 of them to create a 30-minute episode. So, and this is for companies like Crave, who would maybe prefer a 30-minute episode. So we will be able to, so once we have, say, the 8, we could have actually 4 30-minute episodes as well. So we've actually have that. And some of the film festivals that we've entered and where we actually won awards was actually for our 30 minutes version, because at least it gives you more of a better feel for the show, showcasing the combined episode 1 and 2.
So that's really interesting with this web and new media, is that opportunity to do this, to kind of copy and paste or cut and glue, whatever is needed. Like, if somebody wanted a 5-minute version, you could probably trim it, or like you said, a 30-minute version, or 8 episodes or 10 episodes. It seems very flexible, a flexible format.
Yeah, it is. And, one of the simple ways to do something like that, and I know they always say, episode really needs to finish. There has to be a sort of a good finish to it. But one of the simple ways, if you do need to split it up, is you just do it in parts. So you might have part 1, part 2 of the first episode if you wanted to split it up smaller. And then the next episode also has part 1 and 2. So that's another advantage of doing the web series.
And I apologize if I offended any editors when I say you just cut and paste, because I know editors are like, you don't just cut and paste, you got to fix the sound, the flow changes. So I didn't mean it that way, that it's an easy fix, but that it is possible, that it is another way that your project can take a new life with the content already created, and you're just reshaping it in certain ways. One of the things for everyone listening that Lisa mentioned was Ontario Creates. So there is the fund through Ontario Creates, the CMF, which is the Canadian Media Fund, which funds television and new media, and then Crave, which is a streaming service. And I believe right through the Crave website, there is an application where you can apply to pre-sell or sell your show. So those are the 3 things you can write down and look into for your web series. So Mike, so this is the thing. It was an email to Fibe. They liked the idea. You went into production, and I believe you're also now going into season 2.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we just kicked off our first block of shooting for season 2. Honestly, like same sort of deal as Lisa. It's like when we started talking about season 2 specifically, we pitched it as 22-minute episodes, and honestly, and like Paul and TV1 have been great. They're like, honestly, probably you should stay with the web format rather than going full episodes. You can, and to Lisa's point, you can always edit and cut these episodes together if you do want to do something longer. But for the sake of getting funding and just sort of ease of access, people are just consuming in smaller bits anyway. So it was we kind of challenged ourselves to write as if they were 22-minute episodes, and we would just break them up into like one 22-minute episode could be, again, 2 11-minute episodes. And like I mentioned earlier, we're not really strict with staying with that like a 15-minute episodic format. The episodes are as long as they are. We had an episode in season 1 that was 9 minutes, and truthfully, it's probably our strongest episode because it had everything we needed. And we're like, cool, we don't need to pad this, and that's kind of how we've been guiding things, I guess, for lack of a better term, for how we're doing season 2. Just if it fits, if it's a 10-minute episode, 15, whatever, it is what it is. And
so your season 1 has already been on 5, so you've already passed the 1-month exclusive.
Yeah, right? Yeah, we passed that in May, and honestly, like in terms of a distribution strategy, we were kind of going back and forth about whether we should release it on the web. We're pretty liberal with handing out the screening link to people that ask. Obviously, like the preference is to have people watch it on 5. But I can't even tell you the amount of people that have expressed interest in watching the show. They're like, I don't know anybody that has TV1. Where can I watch this? And that's one of the things that we're running into. Where it's like, hey man, you know what? We'll send you the screener. It's not exclusive anymore. Just we're not putting it public right now, but show someone if you like it, share it around. And we've gotten some bites from some decent distro companies and larger producers that are really interested in sitting down and figuring out how we can hammer this out. But again, to Lisa's point earlier, we have 5 episodes, right? And it's tough to get much traction with that. We have an hour of content. I think it's a very good hour of content, but in terms of getting that, beyond the scope of where we are right now, it's a bit of a challenge to get anybody to take a flyer on it and say like, cool, this hour is great. I'll push this out. It would be a lot easier to do it with 2 hours of content or 11 episodes rather than just the 5. So it's been a big learning experience for me. I mean, truthfully, like this is my first real venture with this. I didn't think we were gonna have a shot of getting this made. I thought we had a great idea, and I'll be blunt, like I lied through my teeth and I was like, yeah, no, this is a fully formed idea. We've got all this stuff written. Like, cool, it's great. Let's move forward with this. And we signed on. It's like, oh shit, we have to write a show now. And I have to back this up. But yeah, it's honestly, it's been a massive learning experience at every step of the way. So even stuff like this, like I'm sitting here like, cool, yeah, CMF, yeah, that's great. I'm just gonna write that down. I'm gonna look into that. Like, it's awesome. It's been fun.
So that's good. Yeah, it's a learning experience for everyone because we're all kind of in the same boat, and we don't all know what's going on everywhere all the time. So panels like this where people share ideas and strategies can give anybody an idea of what to do and where to look for things. One of the things that I was going to say about the tell people is what I mean when I say a 1 month exclusive is that with the deal with Bell5 is that they get the show to broadcast for 1 month, and no one else in Canada can have that show within that 1 month period. And that's very unusual because most distribution windows are much longer than 1 month. So Bell5 is really like a nest where they want to nurture you and grow you, and then they want you to kind of fly off and do great things in the world. So that's what I mean by 1 month exclusives, is that you can't do anything else with it in Canada for that first month, and then you're off and doing it. So Mike, and you said you kind of lied and said you had scripts and stuff ready to go, but there's talent behind that. So it's not like you didn't have the talent that could put that together. It's not like you did not. I'm sure some people came from the industry and you knew how to do this. It was just you didn't have the pieces at that time. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%. And like it all kind of came together. Like in a previous life, I was working at Sunrise Records in Canada, and we were doing some web content with the VP there, and I was producing in that web content. We had a great team of shooters there and producers, editors, all of that, and we started shooting this web content. I was like, oh, this guy Tim is hilarious. We're gonna make a show around this guy. So like we had the characters in place, we had the foundation, we had pretty much everything. And like I've been really lucky with the production team. Like I'm a stand-up comedian. I write. The other producers are stand-up comedians. They write. So it's just a matter of just sitting down and making it happen and giving these guys direction. Everyone, especially in the comedy industry, and Adriano and Sandro, you guys can attest to this as well. Like everyone's always writing something. They just need some sort of direction with where to go with it. Like I got a great idea. Cool. Let's write it. So yeah, once we kind of got the wheels in motion, it was time to actually sit down, and we brought another great producer on, Ashley Slogget, who's actually in the panel listening right now, and kind of just rounded out our team and made sure that that was the thing. Like all of these people have a lot of industry experience. I did not. So I was like, cool, let's bring in people that know how to do exactly what I need them to do, and fill in the gaps that I don't know necessarily, like where to go for like proper wardrobe or things like that, and get some actual like hungry local players involved that wanted to help out. So it's like it really was that like a big community effort to make sure that that I didn't look stupid, to be perfectly honest. It's like, oh, no, I got this. I can totally deliver this show. Can you guys help me out? Like,
So Ashley, you are here. So what did you do to help out here? So, he lies and says, we got this, and then you're putting it together. And so where do you fit in that scenario?
That's a very good question, Nathan. Well, Mike and I go way back, like 20 years from our previous lives in music and stuff. And recently, we had run into each other again. I was working at Levity at the comedy club, and he was a stand-up, blah, blah, blah. And I had literally put a Facebook post out like last year about, I was like, oh, my calling is in a call sheet. Literally, like I just put that, and because I don't know, I had been doing a bunch of background and like acting gigs and stuff. And I was like, oh, I live by the call sheet. So apparently that stuck with our director, Tyler Shazma, and Mike knows me as a fellow hustler like himself. And he's like, hey, so I have this thing that I think might happen. How do you feel about like ADing a show? And I was like, I've never assistant directed, but like I'm great at wrangling. I'm great at like making spreadsheets and doing what ADs do. And he's like, all right, we'll chat in like a month. I think it's gonna go. That was right when, Mike, I think you had like either just gotten the green light or were like very close. Am I?
Yeah. We got a verbal green light. Hadn't had a contract or anything yet.
Yeah, exactly. So then I came on as AD, and then after the first day, Mike took me aside and he's like, hey, so you are like doing way more than just like ADing. You're like doing all this other stuff. Can we upgrade you to producer? And I was like, yes, of course. Like, that would be amazing. So then, just like from the get-go, the guys were like, I'm their fourth. So and then it's been a ride ever since. It's just been like, we keep our producer chats like every week and make sure that we keep the boat moving.
Yeah, that's interesting. So everyone had the skills, right? So it's not like it started from zero. You're all put your talents together to kind of make it happen.
Yeah.
And same with like Adriano, finding new people to work with, and they kind of come on board. They're interested in the story, and they get to work with new people. So it sounds like this is a great format to do that, like these web series where people can kind of come on, maybe a lower impact than it would be if you had to shoot a feature film and take up their schedule. So it's really interesting. Someone asked in the now is a great time for everyone to post questions in the chat, and we can get to that. And I'm going to go with Adriano here. You're in Los Angeles, so you're in the heart of the industry there. Someone asked, how do you connect with distributors? And do you find it
I don't know.
valuable? And how, is it a valuable thing? Because some people swear by it, and some people have terrible stories working with distributors. So what's your experience working out there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience working with distributors. I'm not probably the best person to ask this question. I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunities and programs online, like the Bell5 one we're discussing, that people can take advantage of and try to pitch content and get funding. And a lot of these programs do give the rights back to you after a certain amount of time. And I guess the question is what to do with that with your content afterwards. I mean, it's challenging because you can, with the short form content, there's so much competition for short form content online for free, with YouTube and other streaming platforms, that it's tough to find something where you can, a platform that is behind like a paywall or something like that. So I don't know. I mean, you guys might have a better answer for this one.
Well, Lisa, you have someone right now in the AFM, the American film market, that is seeking distribution. So what are your goals there? What does a short series distributor look like, or how do you contact them?
I was very fortunate. One of my first films, What If, was selected in a Las Vegas film festival. And they nominated me for Best Actress. I wasn't going to go, but because I got the nomination, I ended up going. And they had, as part of their film festival, they had a 10-minute pitch. You could select, they had various professionals, and one of them was this distributor. And I signed up to have a free pitch. And it was another show I was working on called Are You Curious? So I was able to meet him and pitch a show in 10 minutes. And that's how I connected with him. And he gave me his contact information. But when we did the teaser for Pink is In, I sent it to him and he immediately responded and showed interest in the show. So I was very fortunate that way of connecting. So basically it was through a film festival.
That's the one benefit I find of a film festival is that it is a place to connect. So right now, everybody listening, they're connecting and hearing all these ideas from different people, and it may help in their own content. With the TV show Wild Child, we've already spoken to a few distributors who have seen our trailer. They're interested. They want to see a cut episode, which we're close to doing, and then from that point on, they will decide if they will be able to distribute it. Right now, we're looking at international. We'll probably be able to handle our own in Canada because you can count the networks on one hand, and I think I have too many fingers for the amount of places you can actually sell something in Canada. But yeah, so there's a lot of different distributors, and I would say because I had a short film years ago, Air Knob, that was distributed through What Media, which is based out of Toronto, and it was a 4-year exclusive deal. So they were the exclusive distributor of this short film, and that was before, I guess, everything blew up on the internet. So there were still people buying short film content at that time, and it was a 50-50 split, and it was very easy to work with them. It was on Air Canada, the back of the chairs when you watch movies. Sundance Channel Canada, Moviola, which was their sister station. So it got a lot of broadcast at the time, but now it's very difficult to sell a short film. There's very few places where you can kind of sell a short film, but there are platforms or aggregators, I guess, where you get your short film there and, they bring the eyes to it. But I think what you're all doing with the web series and bringing things to social media and generating content and generating it a way for other people to discover what it is you're doing is probably great value in putting on the web series. And things like 5TV1, which is great, where you don't have to pay the tens of thousands of dollars it might cost you to put on the show. They cover a good portion of that, which is great. Someone had asked here, can you talk about soliciting the show? From my understanding, Bell's contract prohibits shopping. Anyone want to speak on the shopping aspect of it? I think it's only the 1 month exclusive. You can't.
Let me clarify here, Nathan, because I am definitely not the EP on our show. That's Mike's wheelhouse. But I just would love to know your guys' other experiences that have done Bell things, because from my understanding, the contract that at least we had, and without breaching any NDAs or whatever, they have a license for 5 years, and your ability to entertain people wanting to distribute is totally kosher. But and I could be completely wrong, or people make better deals than us, that going and seeking distribution elsewhere was kind of taboo. So Nathan, if you were able to do that, Lisa, you've had lots of success with Pink is In. I would just love to know how you got around that.
It's in the contract. It's you have. Sorry, Lisa, you go ahead.
Yeah, as far as I know, I just know about the 30-day exclusive, but we're very much aware. I remember when I was speaking to Paul about it, he was telling me that certain shows that they have had success, even going on to maybe Netflix. And I know one of these shows was picked up by actually CTV itself. So I'm not too sure about that section, but as far as I know, once the 30 days is up, the show belongs to you and you can sell it anywhere.
Yep, that's correct. And then there is a first right of refusal for any subsequent seasons that you have. And like I said, like for anyone that's worked with Five, is they really are a nest. They want to see you flourish. They don't want to hold you back. They want to see you make the sale to Netflix and CTV. They want to see their project go on to bigger things. So I don't think it's very unrestricted. When I first brought the contract to Entertainment Lawyer for season 1 of Songs from the Hammer, they were like 1 month exclusive. That doesn't seem right. And I'm like, yeah, it's right there in the contract. So they were even, surprised at that it was so low, but that was what it was. So it's a good.
You mentioned 5 years. Actually, is there like a non-exclusive for 5 years? Is that how it works? Oh, okay. Yeah. So that makes more sense too. To have that, like they'll still be able to air it for 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, we have David J. Fernandes here.
Sorry about that. My kid had a sleepover last night, and I totally like slept in and thought I had the morning to like do everything I wanted, and I totally forgot about this. I'm so sorry.
You're the rock star showing up 42 minutes.
I know, right? Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah.
So we're actually about 2 minutes away from finishing up here.
Okay.
No, but Dave. What I want is you have creepy bits.
Yeah.
Can you go through your the reason why you put it together, how long it is, and where it's out, and the purpose of it? You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a lot. Let me organize my head there. Why did I make it? Well, I was going crazy, having been like the childcare and kindergarten teacher for my 5-year-old for last year, and I wanted to do something. I have other projects that are in different states of development and just need a lot more money and a lot more time to get done. So I wanted to do something that I could do quickly. I thought maybe I could just self-finance this through a little bit of fumes that I had left in my company. So that's what I did. I borrowed some money and then I spent whatever I had left to make this thing. We shot it all here in Hamilton, a lot of it at Digital Canaries, including a brand new airplane set that Simon had just completed like the day before we shot on it, which was fun. Yeah, what else? What were the other parts of the question?
I want to know where it lives, like how you.
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube. Well, it's on, it's all over the place. It's on like Facebook and Vimeo and YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. In the future, I will not do that again because that was just way too many things and way too many formats to put it into. I even like did a center cut for TikTok, except all the TikTok videos got flagged with being scary. I'm like, yeah, they're horror movies, right? Nobody's they're more like PG-13 in my opinion, but yeah, so TikTok wasn't a great platform for that because they have very strong like censorship on their channel. So it's kind of hard to get around it when you're doing this sort of a thing. But I mean, the people who found it did like it, so that's good. So it's mostly, I think for the future, it'll just be like a YouTube only thing because it was way easier to find an audience on YouTube. And if you look at the statistics, like YouTube is just like exponentially bigger for video than anything else. And of course, it was an experiment for me. But at the end of the day, it's just like, oh yeah, just stick to YouTube. That should have just been the plan all along. So it's on YouTube at the moment. There is a distributor who's coming aboard. I can't say who it is yet because the deal's not signed, but so it will be on a streaming channel at some point. It's not a huge one, but it's a decent one, and it'll get some more exposure to the series. The runtime you asked, all of them are 3 minutes except for the last one, which is 5. So I think the total runtime is about 20 minutes for the whole series. There's 6 episodes. Yeah. Were there more? Did I answer?
That's wonderful. Yeah. So there's we had talked about social media platforms, and you found YouTube to be the best. You do have a distributor who put it on a streaming platform. So there's one way you're also using to put this out. So with this series, do you hope to grow it? What do you hope to get from this, or is this the end of the line for this and you're moving on?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it just depends on what happens, right? Like, I have a TV show I'm pitching right now, and if for some reason that gets going, then I'll work on that, right? So, and I have a feature I'm pitching, so if that gets some money, then I'll work on that. So I don't know. I kind of just, mixing a few things on the stove at the same time and seeing what starts cooking. So I would love to do more of them. It was actually really fun to do something so short, right? Because each of the scripts was only 3 pages. And we shot 3 pages a day. So we basically did a short a day, which it was very refreshing not to be cramming in like 5 or 6 or more pages a day. Everybody's nodding. Yeah, it's really hard to keep up a high page count like that. And then of course the quality is going to suffer when you try and do too many things. And we had a tiny crew. It was like 12 people, and we're trying to move quickly, and it's hard because like, when you're doing, anytime you have to do a different lighting setup, like everything's, like you're waiting for 2 people to like adjust everything, so you can't move quickly with a small crew. So trying to do too many pages a day is usually a recipe for disaster. So it was like, we had like normal days. We had like 10-hour, 12-hour days, not like 16 or something crazy like that. And everybody went home, got rested, came back the next day. Nobody's driving home at 2 a.m. You know what I mean? Like it felt a lot calmer than other things that I've done in the past. So I'd love to keep doing like that pace of things, but I know that, when you get into bigger productions, you just have to move faster, but you also have like 10 times the crew. So it is much easier to move faster when you have more people doing things. So, but then you need more coordination and more money and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know, that's a trade-off. But in terms of doing short things, I would love to only do 3 pages a day in the future. That's possible, but it's not. So this was a nice little oasis of like doing a small page count and actually doing something completely different every day, because it's not a serialized thing, it's an anthology. So all the characters are different, all the locations, the stories, everything is different every day. So we literally would finish one thing, now we're doing something else. And so I don't know, I think it kept the whole crew kind of interested in what we were doing. Nobody got bored, that's for sure. So yeah.
So that's interesting. Like this web and new media seems to be a great, I don't think it's a trend. I think it's here to stay, and you're all doing wonderful things, and you're all doing very different things, which is very, very interesting. And I guess before we go, if all of you could maybe in the chat post your either website, where people can either watch or get some of this stuff, and I will save this chat and I can send it to anyone who isn't able to copy it. And this is also recorded, so I will post this probably in a week from now. I'll let it sit for a little bit, so you all have first access. As everyone's putting it in the chat, I will say that at 11:30 we have the film studio roundtable. So all the film studios and spaces that exist in Hamilton are going to get together to talk shop. So you're going to get to listen in on seeing who's doing what, and Ashley's going to be part of that panel as well. And at 1 p.m. we're offline, and we're going down to the Westdale Theatre to listen to the talk with David Hamilton, who is the most famous Canadian producer that no one knows. An amazing amount of productions under his belt, and no one knows the name. So we're gonna have a great chat down at the Westdale, and then we're back online at 3:30 for Real City. So all different organizations in Hamilton that are doing things to move the film and television and new media industry forward. So I think everyone's got their stuff in the chat there. That's wonderful. So I want to thank you all for joining us here at the 16th Annual Hamilton Film Festival and sharing all your stories. I can't wait to see what you all do next. You're all part of the Hamilton Film Festival family, so anytime you have anything, make sure you send it our way, and we'll make sure that you have a big screen and an audience for all of your work. So thank you very much, and have a great morning, afternoon, wherever you happen to be, and we'll hopefully see you at some other events and panels at the Hamilton Film Festival. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for having us, Nathan. Nice to meet you all.
Thanks.
You as well.
Nice to meet you all. Have a fantastic